Welcome to MrCScience.com's video on bacterial eating habits. Last video we talked about what bacteria were. Now let's talk about what they eat. Bacteria eat a lot of different things. We'll talk about all the different types of things they eat. Here I have a bacteria eating a hamburger and a shake. Seems silly, but yes, bacteria will eat a hamburger and a shake, although not the way we think about it. Let's talk about different categories for what they eat. A lot of bacteria are saprophytic. What does this mean? They eat dead things. So here's a nice little cartoon with a dead mouse. So saprophytic bacteria, and a lot of bacteria are saprophytic, eat dead things. Dead animals, dead plants, and even each other. Um, Bacteria eat dead things. Why is this important? Well, bacteria eat dead things. When they do that, they do something very important. First of all, they remove all the dead material. So otherwise we'd have dead animals, dead people. Every time you mowed your grass, you'd have to cart the grass away and store it somewhere because it would not disintegrate. So all that stuff would be piling up. More important than that, though, is it releases all the nutrients and building blocks in the organisms that they help decompose. So this releases, especially valuable things like nitrogen and some metals and things like that, back into the environment so that they can be used. They can be taken up by plants, and animals can eat plants, and they can be redistributed because there are only so many around. So we've got to reuse them. Otherwise, our environment would quickly collapse if we didn't have that. Not only do they eat dead things, some bacteria like to eat live things like you or other animals. If a bacteria eats a live organism or lives off of a live organism, they don't actually eat the entire organism, but they live within it, often causing things like disease or other issues. They are called parasites or parasitic. So, not to be confused with symbiotic organisms, where two or more organisms live with each other and each contributes and each gains a value from that pairing. Parasites strictly live off of another living organism. There are two other ways that bacteria get their food. First one you're kind of familiar with, but it's not the same as what you're familiar with here in this process. Some bacteria photosynthesize. That means they get their energy that they need to create their food from the sun. This isn't the standard photosynthesis we think of in plants and algae that release oxygen into the atmosphere for us to breathe. This is different. So, but they get their energy from the sun. It's called photosynthesis. The other one here, there, I got a little bacteria drinking out of an Erlenmeyer flask, which often contains chemicals. So they get it through chemicals. This is called chemosynthesis. So you'll find chemosynthesis occurring in some extreme areas like hydrothermal vents, any area with high acid levels, high heat levels, things like that, lack of sunlight, lack of other organisms. You'll find some bacteria there that carry out chemosynthesis. Okay, so this is what they eat. Pretty much anything they get their hands on. Most of them are saprophytic, they'll eat dead things. Some are parasites, they will live within a live host and feed off of that. Some get energy from the sun, photosynthesis, some from other chemical aspects, chemosynthesis. Let's talk a little bit about what else they need for their to eat their food, basically. Okay, bacteria eat like we do, not the same way, they don't chew and stuff, but on a cellular level, they have to break down their food to gain energy just like us. In order to do that, they need a very important chemical that is available in the Earth's atmosphere, about 21%. That chemical is oxygen. So, ever wonder why you need to breathe? Why do you have to take in oxygen? What we need it for is to break down our food. Um, let's take a look at, I'm going to give you a little preview as to what's coming in your near future. Okay, most bacteria and us and animals and plants all need oxygen to combine with, in this case, here's a simple sugar, glucose. Combined with the glucose, gives off carbon dioxide, water, and also energy. Energy that is trapped in a little chemical you'll learn about later called ATP, adenotriphosphate, that stores the energy and allows that energy to be used for all the processes in the organism. So without oxygen, you can't break down your food to get energy. Without energy, the organism shuts down and decomposes. So um, just like us, most bacteria need oxygen to survive. These bacteria are called aerobic. So, aerobic organisms need oxygen to break down their food for energy. If any of you have taken exercise classes, there's one class called aerobics. And in aerobics, you dance around, jump around, hop around, all kinds of stuff until you get your heart rate going fast and your breathing going hard and fast. That's because your body's requiring that oxygen to break down foods to make the energy allow you to do that. So, aerobic means requires oxygen. Now, it's interesting, there are some bacteria that do not need oxygen to break down their food. These bacteria are called anaerobic. So, if they don't need oxygen to break down their food, it's anaerobic. So, um, many bacteria require oxygen, so they can only exist in an oxygen environment like the rest of us. But there are bacteria that don't require oxygen to create energy. They can live in oxygen deprived, low, or completely missing environments. Um, that allows bacteria to be pretty much anywhere on Earth, as well as high in the atmosphere and well underground. So bacteria live all over, and the reason for that is so that they can carry out that saprophytic action, break down those organisms, and release the nutrients back into the system. If you have any questions on this at all, as usual, drop me a line at mrc@mrcscience.com. Thank you.